Penn State in white, Nebraska in red. If you're joining us for the first time this season, some rule changes. The sets are shorter, and you don't get as many substitutions. Games are to 25, best 3 of 5. The winner will face Stanford on Saturday night in the final. And the hitting error by Nicole Fawcett gives Nebraska the first point of the match.
And you mentioned those shorter sets makes the dominance of this Penn State even more remarkable. Nobody a year ago would have told anybody with conviction that a team could possibly do that. The shorter the set, the more the advantage to the underdog.
Armato with the kill. What's almost as impressive as what Penn State has accomplished this year, Karch, is what Nebraska has accomplished. They graduated or had retire 4 All-Americans from their team last year, and then their starting middle, Corey Cooper, got hurt this season. And yet here they are back in the semis when nobody expected they would do it outside of the state of Nebraska. Fawcett dug up by Larson. Glass going to set Hodge out of the back, and the tip gets down.
And not only did they lose 4 All-Americans, but 2 of those were players of the year of the whole country. So 5 players they plugged in. Nobody would have called Nebraska. Nobody did call that they would win a share of the Big 12 title or be back here, and overcame tremendous odds last weekend to come back from down 2-0 against Washington.
Mueller got it through. She's one of the 4 new starters in their lineup this year. 4 sophomores now starting at Nebraska. She was the regional most outstanding player last weekend. 24 kills and 16 digs in the region final win over Washington. Wilson sliding behind, gets the kill. So many weapons for Alicia Glass, their setter, to choose from.
Every single of the other 5 players is a weapon, and that's why they're all All-American. In fact, the only 2 that didn't make first-team All-American are the 2 that are having the best postseason tournament.
Anderson, their new center, to Jordan Wilberger, their new middle blocker, who is making just the 6th start of her career tonight.
She had barely played when we saw her step in to replace Corey Cooper, who injured her knee, blew out her ACL at Texas. Wilberger been doing a great job in the postseason, hitting over .330.
Glass looking to Wilson, sliding behind. Jordan got a piece of it. Fawcett off speed, popped up. Nope, they're going to say it got down. Point for Penn State.
Well, Jordan Larson's already been showing off her skills, and Coach Cook says she's the best player that's ever been in the Nebraska program. We've seen her block already, pass. Let's wait for some attacking from her also. She took that team on her shoulders in that 5th set last Saturday.
That's something we may see a lot today, the service errors. It's a high-risk, high-reward system that Russ Rose lets his team do. They get a lot of aces as well, usually.
But it drives him nuts a few times. He says they get a little too careless with that. We have such great blockers. Let's give them a chance by getting the ball in.
Rachel Schwartz, one of 3 Nebraska natives in their starting lineup, as Megan Hodge gets the kill. She was the region most outstanding player last weekend in University Park.
And you see how Hodge can elevate. She loves that fast set, and she wins that battle against Sydney Anderson, going right over her down the line.
Warehouse with the tough serve. Anderson setting Gates. Net violation. Hodge touched it up. Point Nebraska.
Coach Cook was talking about it yesterday. The only chance we have is to stress them with our serve. Their best server coming up to bat now, Jordan Larson, who served match point, by the way, for an ace last Saturday.
Armato pounds that one down. Point Penn State.
And we saw this Penn State team and Armato not have a great start last Saturday against Cal in the regional final. Armato back to her normal self, crushing balls down the line and angle on that backslide off 1 foot.
I think the Penn State coaching staff was impressed with the response after Penn State faced its largest deficit of the season last weekend against Cal when they went down by 7 points and rallied to win with a 12-2 run to close out the first set.
Not only the staff, but the players were happy that they got challenged too. You'd hate to have your first challenge, the first team that shoves you hard, have it be here in front of 17,000 Husker fans.
Hodge. Gates digs it. Larson out of the back long. Point Penn State.
Amanda Gates showing off, one of those seniors that Coach Cook raves about. These three in particular who have made the fun comeback on this team, showing her defensive skills on that last play.
Armato reached across. Point for Nebraska. Penn State helping out Nebraska here in the first set with some unforced errors.
And another thing Coach Cook has emphasized all season long is a next play mentality, and they're going to need a lot of that tonight because one play after another is going to be like highlight reel plays, and they have to bounce back and just think about their side of the net.
Anderson, strong serve again. Full house pops it up. Fawcett's dug up by Banworth. Mueller cross court with the kill.
Wow, that was a Fawcett-like angle right back at Nicole Fawcett. Great hustle by Penn State earlier in that rally, but then Mueller crushing hard angle right off the hands that luckily Fawcett got up.
Service error gives the point to Penn State. They have not seen a crowd this big this year, but they have seen crowds that are pretty boisterous on road trips to Hawaii, Minnesota, and Wisconsin this year. And with this experienced group, they've seen big crowds in the past. They didn't think that would be too much of an advantage for Nebraska.
That's a big reason why Coach Rose scheduled those. He wants them to be ready for if they face Nebraska in this situation.
Nebraska, meanwhile, certainly thought that they could use the home crowd to help them out. Fawcett uses the block for the kill. Point Penn State for Nicole Fawcett, the 2008 Big Ten Player of the Year.
A great outside hitter, hits over 300. Nicole Fawcett hit most of the year over 400. That's unheard of for an outside hitter. She's got to be a leading candidate, along with maybe Jordan Larson, for Player of the Year.
The ace for Kelsey Ream. Penn State by a pair. First set, best 3 of 5 to decide who goes on to the final to face Stanford. Glass has to play it over. Anderson tried to connect with Wilberger. That's a connection that's only been together for a few weeks.
It really has, and it's been working for the most part. Anderson does have to run that some to keep blockers like Ariel Wilson honest in the middle.
Back set to Mueller. Dug up by Hodge. Also tried to push it deep. Anderson outside to Lindsay Light. The 6'5" sophomore from Aurora, California, who replaces National Player of the Year Sarah Pavitt on that right side.
And she's had some big matches, but some poor ones. Overall hitting only 212. I mentioned how Fawcett was at about 400, almost double that. They definitely need Light to have a big match, and that was one consideration for Penn State. What blocker do we put on her to try to slow her down and try to make Nebraska's offense devolve into just a two-hitter, Mueller and Jordan Larson outside hitter attack?
Glass, the junior from Leland, Michigan.
That's not going to fall on Penn State.
Fawcett. They've been able to cover her fairly well so far. Glass going to go back outside to Nicole, and with just one blocker up, that's a mismatch.
And that's the trouble and the challenge that Wilberger faces. She has Ariel Wilson coming at her. Does she leave her alone and go out to try to form that two-person block? No, she didn't that time.
6-1 run, and now the Penn State fans making some noise. Glass calling for it. Now Anderson going to work. Glass back set. Blair Brown right at Mueller. Got it up. Larson getting a swing and goes deep for the kill.
Did you notice early in that rally there was a high dig on the Penn State side and Megan Hodge went to set it, but she kept her back to the hitter. She had so much time. A better move would be to go around the ball and face your target instead of setting it blind, and they didn't get a swing on it.
Kayla Banworth serving. That player in the opposite colored jersey is a defensive specialist and a serving specialist. And Fawcett gets blocked. Gates and Light side by side.
Well, Coach Rose, his favorite skill of their libero, Roberto Holhouse, is coverage. But she doesn't get much of a chance, only 3 times per set. And that is the rare time the Penn State hitters are blocked. Wow.
Oh, Blair Brown tattooed it. Point Penn State.
Can't teach height. 6'5" with a good jump. She rockets this ball. Watch coming in off one leg. Ba-boom.
Back set to Light. Got it. Point Huskers.
You could see Megan Hodge turning and talking to her defender, trying to figure out exactly where to set her body up on Light. Light can hit line, like she did there, or angle, and she has to make a choice, Hodge does, as to what to take away.
Wilson, solo swat for Larson. She just brings so much energy as well as her athleticism to this team.
And she can, as Coach Cook says, win a match with any skill, any of the 6 skills in volleyball, showing off her blocking on that one.
Glass looking for Blair Brown through the block. The 6'5" sophomore from Purcellville, Virginia with the kill. NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And what a performance by Feluca Akinrado and Cynthia Barbosa. In the last 3 sets, they combined for 26 kills and just 2 errors, as the Cardinal will be seeking a 7th national championship.
Making their 3rd straight final. Probably would have been 4 if their great outside hitter Cynthia Barbosa had not blown out her ACL in her freshman year.
There's Stanford with their box dinners, checking out the action. They don't want to become the first team to lose 3 finals in a row.
Penn State was on the verge of that in the late 90s. Lost in 97, lost to Misty May's undefeated Long Beach team in 98, but then won the 3rd time in 1999 for Coach Rose's first championship.
Another tough serve from Ream. Oh, nice play by Mueller. But was she into the net? Yes, she was. 2 points away from taking the opening set. Point for the Huskers. How would Penn State come into this semifinal? Would they be tight? Would they feel the pressure, the weight of expectations? Or would Russ Rose have his team loose and ready to go? And the latter has definitely been the case here in the opening set.
They sure looked loose in the public practices yesterday. Look, the loosest of the 4 teams, having a lot of fun out here.
Wilson thunders one home. Set point, Nittany Lions.
She has been phenomenal in the postseason. One of their 2 second-team All-Americans.
Hitting close to 550 in the postseason is Wilson. Fawcett to end it. Through the block, 1-0 Nittany Lions.
And what patience by Wilson. She chose to pass it and run the offense instead. A lot of poise for a sophomore there.
Take a look now at our Coke Zero game track as Penn State jumps on top. And it takes a little air out, deflates the crowd a little bit here in Omaha by hitting 371.
You mentioned those 11 kills from Hodge and Fawcett. They match 11 for the team of Nebraska. 371 for Penn State. Another stat that doesn't really show up on the official ones is how well you control the other team's serve. Coach Cook said we have to stress them with our serve, but no, Penn State controlled the serve better, and then they could run plays like this all over the court. Watch Hodge come in for a fast set. No, most outside hitters don't do that. She can put it down from anywhere on the court, but when Penn State's receiving serve well, and they out-controlled the other team's serve better than Nebraska controlled Penn State's serve, Penn State almost has no chance to lose. The big thing is Nebraska has to serve tougher, create some aces and scoring opportunities on Penn State.
Hodge, last year's NCAA tournament most outstanding player. Strong start for her again this season. Harmato dug up by Anderson. Lindsay Light lets it rip. Joust at the net. Mueller pushes it back.
What a cover by Harmato, too.
And it falls in the Nebraska side of the net. Point Penn State. Here's the job that Penn State has done this year. They've won 63 in a row. Stanford, the last team to beat them. And 122 consecutive sets won. That's actually 62 in a row.
At 110 now. They had 109 at the start of this. The last time they lost was a year ago in the finals against Stanford. They won the first two, lost the next two. Those were the last 2 sets lost.
Came back to win set number 5 for the national championship last year in Sacramento.
Figured it was a good time to start a streak.
Point for Penn State. Alicia Glass will serve. Certainly a correlation between Glass as the starting setter and the fact that Penn State has set new school records for hitting percentage in each of the last 3 seasons.
She has gotten progressively better and better as a setter, and she brings a lot more to the table. She's one of the few setters in the country that Penn State doesn't hesitate to put on the other team's best hitter as a blocker. She's so good at the net.
She's one of 3 Penn State players that have over a block a set in the postseason. Anderson looking outside to Jordan Larson. There's a player you might see on the Olympic team someday.
She loves to stroke that high off the hands. We saw them practicing that yesterday here. Both hitters, they know they're going up against big blockers. Coach Cook said, hey, we played our first round match against Liberty. They had little hands above the net. We hit most of the balls out in the first game because we weren't used to such small blockers.
Larson's going to go again with the left hand off the block, got it outside. Point Nebraska.
What a save by Larson. She had no hope to do anything but throw it into the block. She actually scores a point. All she was trying to do is keep it in play.
Adjusting in the air for Jordan Larson. Graduating in just 3.5 years. In fact, the ceremony will be down in Lincoln tomorrow morning. Gates at the net for the kill. A young lady who's waited 3 years for her chance to play and to start, and she's making the most of it.
Coach Cook said earlier she has earned the right to have a great season. Such patience and hard work to finally get that start.
Columbus, Nebraska. Larson with another solo stuff. They are out-blocking the #1 blocking team in the nation here tonight.
You certainly wouldn't have expected that. You'd expect them to outserve, but watch here. She gets her eyes down off the ball and onto the hitter. And she made plays like that in the midst of their 9-point run against Washington to get back into that match last Saturday night.
Glass, long way to go for that pass, and Fawcett buries it anyways.
Nebraska did everything right that play to score. Got a bad pass, a bump set, but Fawcett saves it.
Fawcett, the service error, that's her second of the match. 5-1 run here for Nebraska to go up 7-3. Rachel Schwartz, senior from Lincoln. Member of this senior class, the winningest in Husker history, 127-7 their record. They have never lost at home. Point for Penn State. In fact, they got some streaks of their own, Karch. 96 wins in a row in the state of Nebraska. 87 consecutive home wins here or in Lincoln, which ties the NCAA record, sharing it with Penn State. And they are a perfect 13-0 here in the Quest Center in their history. Great D by Holthouse.
Exactly. She starts it with an aggressive serve, then gets in there quickly and creates the opportunity for Hodge to just tap it down right over Anderson.
Penn State rattling off a couple in a row. Another service error. There's their 2 top dogs from beyond that line, and they've both erred here in this set. Now Larson going to give it a rip. Glass. Hodge right down the middle.
Coach Rose last weekend said, yeah, we've got plenty of new wrinkles we've been working on with these 5 offensive weapons. Showed a couple against Cal, breaking out more there with Hodge coming in the middle on a play set. They still have more to go. It's all in Alicia Glass's hands as to how many they want to show.
10 kills already for Megan Hodge and 3 service errors in a row for Penn State.
And this would be the thing Coach Rose was talking about. My team can get careless with its serving. Got to give ourselves a chance to score points.
Well, and that's the difference in the set here in a 3-point deficit. Armato blisters that 1-point Penn State.
And Armato likes that matchup better against Mueller than she does against the great Jordan Larson that we saw earlier block a ball. Leaves a hair of line, and Armato sees it, threads the needle.
Anderson looking for Mueller. Blocked by Glass. They'll go back outside to Mueller. Overpass. Glass out wide for Fawcett. Got it. So quick in transition.
Well, you don't see that many long rallies because Penn State, you give them a second or third chance, it's going to be down. They're terminators. Even if they get blocked, the play is usually over.
Larson out of the back for the kill. Going deep corner for Jordan Larson.
Going down the pipe. Wise choice by her. When you hit that ball, you want to hit it to one corner or the other. She sees the open corner is back toward her left.
Mueller. Another kill for Nebraska. There you see some of the pink ribbons in the hair of the Nebraska players. Not only is Jordan Larson taking on a lot of responsibilities on the court and in the classroom, but her mother, Kay Clough, renewing her fight against breast cancer that started 5 years ago and recently returned. Certainly a lot weighing on her mind as she suits up here for the national semis.
In fact, her mom, after chemo a week ago Wednesday, went to cheer on the team in Seattle, but was not able to make the match because of the trip took so much out of her. And Jordan Larson broke down at the end of that match against Washington on Saturday night. Just had utterly spent everything, physically, emotionally, in every way.
Ariel Wilson ducked for cover. Holy cow!
Sydney Anderson is laughing. My poor teammate just took a shot. Wilberger.
Set up by the wicked serve from Ream.
Look out.
Oh! Light with the left hand. What you talked about earlier, Karch, they put that play before away and moved on, and they come right back with the kill.
A next play mentality. You have to have it against teams like Texas and especially Penn State. All the offensive weapons, they're going to make their kills, make their highlight shows, but you come back and battle.
Penn State won the first set and now are within a point here in the second. Glass back to serve. Anderson looking for Light. Put up by Glass. Fawcett got that one down.
Wow, that's not an easy play. She had a very sharp angle from way off the net, right at us there. I think it caught the Nebraska players a little off guard. They didn't think that was possible to hit that shot from approaching backwards.
Wicked cut from the senior from Zanesville, Ohio. Now Larson swooping in. Brown got a piece of it. Jordan wants it back. She'll go again with the left hand. Now Light the other way. Got it down before the block got up.
And you can see Fawcett and her middle blocker, Ariel Wilson, trying to figure out how did that get between us. We felt like we were shoulder to shoulder, but it still slipped through.
Anworth serves at Fawcett. Hodge back row. No defense for that.
Well, Nebraska did its job, pulled Penn State out of the offense, and yet when you have somebody like Megan Hodge to come out of the back row and save them, it's really tough to stop.
Anderson to Larson, blocked by Brown.
And that's the matchup Penn State was contemplating. Do we put Blair Brown to shut down that line of Jordan Larson? She tries to hit it high off the hands. Blair Brown, 6'5".
First lead of the set for Penn State. Larson wants it back. This time looking for the touch. Didn't get it. Point Penn State. Timeout on the floor, and the Nittany Lions are up a deuce here in the second. They'll certainly have a run at that 2012 team in London.
He's certainly got to love the talent that he can start to mold.
What's at stake for these two programs? The Huskers are looking for their 4th title and their 2nd in 3 years. Penn State looking for their 3rd back-to-back. And so far they are perfect on the season, 36-0. They have not dropped a set, much less a match.
Interesting talking to Coach Cook yesterday. The repeat thing has been kind of a curse at Nebraska. They go undefeated and win in 2000, have the same group back, plus a world-class player in Nancy Metcalf, and weren't able to pull off the win. And then last year, the same group back from winning in 06, plus Chris Hotelling returning from shoulder surgery, unable to win. Much better chemistry going for Nebraska this year.
That's been the key to their success this season. The chemistry they have, everybody's having a lot of fun. Mueller misfires, point Penn State. Alyssa DeRico, another strong server for Penn State back behind the line. Larson coming out of the back row. Glass looking for Hodge. Mueller. Long again, 2nd consecutive error for Tara.
You could see Mueller just struggling with the strength of this Penn State block. It will force you into errors, get in your head as a hitter, and she's badly missed the last 2 swings.
Penn State has won 13 of the last 17 points. Mueller got the touch. Point Nebraska.
Back to serve, Amanda Gates.
Wilberger comes back on. Banworth out, so there's no libero in this rotation for Nebraska. Gates serving. Glass to Hodge.
Wow. One thing you don't want to do generally is serve the player with a different colored jersey, and Nebraska did that time. Holthouse starts the offense, and Hodge finishes with authority.
Set point for the Nittany Lions. Hodge off the mark, and she smiles about that one. That's one of the few mistakes she's made tonight, with 13 kills, hitting over 500. Another set point. Glass. Faucet. Forget about it.
Or as they say in Brooklyn, forget about it. That one was lights out. Got to get 2 blockers in front of these amazing outside hitters for Penn State.
And as they like to say in State College, Penn State has put Nebraska on the struggle bus. They're down 0-2. And the outside hitters, Faucet and Hodge for Penn State, almost matching the number of kills for the entire Nebraska team through those first 2 sets.
And this is about the exact, in fact, it is the exact season average for Penn State, 403. But they're playing the number 4 team in the country, the number 4 seed in its own house, 17,000 people, and shutting down this crowd. That is the depth and the historic aspect to this Penn State team, just dominating all season long.
And the big swingers, Megan Hodge and Nicole Faucet, doing their job. Hodge at 525, Faucet at 300.
And it's a real tribute to their setter, Alicia Glass, who does better than almost any other setter in the country at avoiding overload and getting her hitters better looks at plays. Hodge doing such a nice job. Harmato there getting a one-on-one. You see the misdirection, so Harmato constantly in one-on-one situations. She also got that for Hodge and Faucet, and she's just setting her team up. Everybody hitting over 300. Just like for the whole season, no team has ever had all of its hitters over 300. This Penn State team is doing that again tonight against a great Nebraska squad.
Russ Rose told us last week at the regionals that with Glass, we go as she goes. She gets better every day at that position that isn't her natural spot coming into college. She strives for perfection, and that makes everybody else on this team seek the same thing. 62 consecutive matches won, 111 now consecutive sets won.
And for the first time, maybe all season long, Nebraska has actually changed the way it started to get a different lineup. Normally, Sydney Anderson is the first server for Nebraska. This time, they rotated around a little, try to switch something up a bit.
Last weekend against Washington, one of the most remarkable comebacks in NCAA tournament history. This would top it if they can make it 2 in a row for Nebraska.
Well, they got the camo jacket. They may need some bulletproof vests and and helmets and something else. But if any team can do it, it's the Nebraska team. They have the greatest attitude, have so much fun, and they just keep fighting. You got to give them credit for the way they keep at it. Corey Cooper leading the troops on the sidelines there with her towel. Suffered that season-ending ACL injury weeks ago against Texas.
And we've already seen it tonight, Coach. Stanford down 0-2 in the first semifinal. They came back to knock off Texas in 5, the first time in the 28 years of this tournament that has happened. Glass looking for Fawcett. And off the fingertips. Anderson chases it down. Jordan Larson. Point, Nebraska.
Coach Cook talked about it when we asked him, stressing the other team on serve. That means serving so tough that one of these 3 Penn State players who makes this pass will put it to a poor area, not right on Alicia Glass's head. That was an okay pass. And Nebraska gets the point. They need more plays like that, but unusually for the first 2 games, Penn State actually out-controlled the opponent's serve over Nebraska. Nebraska known as one of the top serving and receiving teams and ball control teams in the country.
Penn State looking a bit discombobulated here to start out the third. Nebraska taking advantage. That might clean some things up with Fawcett ripping it.
They can turn on those afterburners anytime they want to.
The pass to Anderson. She'll go to Jordan Larson. Off the block. Got it.
And I think one of the reasons they switched where they started and rotated around a little was to try to get Jordan Larson going. She was hitting only 0.67, 5 kills, but 4 errors after the first 2 sets. They really need her. She's the heart and soul of this team. They need her to get going with plays like that.
That's the kind of stress that John Cook was telling us about coming out of the locker room. Their first ace of the match.
But we saw a couple other bad passes too, and that's led to this 6-2 lead.
Gives it right back with the error.
So clearly they're taking Coach Cook's instructions to heart. We need to take a few more risks, serve tougher. We might miss a few more, but maybe we'll get some extra scoring opportunities, and Penn State will only have 1 or 2 options to set to instead of 5.
Out of the back, Fawcett. Dug up by Larson. She's calling for it. Jordan down the middle. No. Back to Fawcett out of the back, and the tip into the net.
The other person you got to give a lot of credit to on this Nebraska team is Sydney Anderson. Coach Cook said she was the absolute perfect personality to come in here and help us kind of gain our fun back after a rough season chemistry-wise last year.
And Russ Rose just reminded his team that of the 7 points Nebraska has, Penn State has given them 4 with their own errors.
He was doing that last week, congratulating Nicole Fawcett. He wanted to give her varsity club status for the other team. Hey, you've given them more. You've got 5 errors. They have a total of 4 points they've earned. What are you doing?
Oh, by the way, you're their leading scorer right now. Nebraska, they'll take anything they can get right now. They're working up a little momentum, doubling up Penn State here in the third.
I think they do need to do that. They need to generate that momentum, and that emotion, that enthusiasm, get this crowd back into it.
Another strong serve.
Wow, smart play.
Blair Brown pushes it off the block.
You just don't see that presence of mind that much. She knew that the ball was so close that she could just lightly push it into the block. As soon as you feel contact, throw it out of bounds.
Rico drills it to Larson. The back set for Mueller, pounds it down.
Well, so far, this new matchup, slightly changed matchups that Coach Cook created by changing his first server, working a little better, a lot better than in the first two sets.
Nebraska's hitting .750 so far in this set. Another Penn State hitting here.
And that was a little bit of missed timing. I think Hodge was expecting it to come faster. She had to slow it down right at the end of her approach.
Strong serve from Mueller again. Oh, and then Hodge able to get it off of Wilberger's hands.
You know, I'm not sure that's the right choice. When a hitter doesn't even jump, there's no way the hitter can put the ball away. So it hits the blocker's hands, goes down to the floor. They lost a scoring opportunity there by trying to block instead of staying down on the floor.
Light with the kill. Nebraska on top. Penn State has not lost a set all season. Somehow able to keep that alive.
Holhouse almost notched in a kill there. You don't see that from a libero very often.
Point for Penn State. They are just fighting to stay close right now, and the coaching staff reminding them, hey, let's settle down here and get things under control. The one thing they have shown in the matches we've seen them, Karch, even when they're struggling, they maintain their composure. They never panic. Fawcett off the block. Point Penn State.
I'm impressed with Holhouse and DeRico. They're taking some shots hard at them, and they're keeping it on their side. I think part of it is they practice against such hard hitters that they're used to the very top speeds in the game, so they can control those Nebraska hitters.
Penn State is unable to contain Lindsay Light. 8 kills now for Light to lead the team, 4 of them in this set.
Rachel Schwartz.
Rachel Schwartz serving. Last tried to go on 2. Larson, big swing for the kill.
When Larson approaches in and comes a few feet inside the sideline, she loves to turn it back down the line off the high hands like she just did over glass there. That's something you can see on film. I would expect the Penn State defenders to lean that way.
Short serve, Glass looking to Fawcett. They said it. Point Nebraska.
And this crowd going crazy, got back into it here.
Deficit of the season. Nebraska's got them in trouble in the third. The largest crowd to ever witness an indoor volleyball match in the United States. Men or women, over 17,000 on hand tonight. And most of them here hoping that Nebraska can give Penn State its first set defeat of the season, but not if Nicole Fawcett keeps swinging like that.
Opportunities to respond. Coaches talk about them all the time. Coming out of that timeout, Penn State responding nicely, but they've got a long way to come back here.
Down 7 in the region final to Cal. They went on a 12-2 run to win that set.
But the whole thing has really been Nebraska's serving, just what Cook wanted. We need to stress them with our serve, put them in passing trouble. That's been working all game. Another bad one.
Fawcett into the tape. Huskers send it back.
And if Penn State loses this set, how do they respond to that happening for the first time this season?
Huskers trying to turn the tables on the top seed. Here in the state of Nebraska, they've won 96 matches in a row. They're down to the top seed, 2-zip, but are threatening here in the third. After the stunning comeback last week in the region final, down 0-2 to win the match. Is there any magic left for Big Red? They have been serving tremendously here in the third, getting Penn State in all kinds of trouble. Larson, back row. Dug by Holthouse. Outside to Nicole Fawcett. Off the tips. Larson tracks it down. Glass. Blair Brown, no. Anderson. Mueller.
Wow, you can feel something special.
The biggest deficit of the season in a set for Penn State. Terrific D for Nebraska, holding the top hitting team in the country at about 300 points below their average.
Meanwhile, Nebraska hitting at .625 for this third set.
Fawcett into the net. And Fawcett just looked at Glass and said, "Give me the ball." Another tough serve.
How about Larson on this serving run?
6 in a row. Huskers can do no wrong right now. Fawcett.
I don't think this crowd has sat down since about 10-5 in this game, being that 7th player the Nebraska Huskers have talked about.
They didn't have much to cheer about in the first 2 sets. They've had plenty to cheer about in the third. And now Penn State's thinking, hey, we got another 12-2 run in us. Maybe not. Have not dropped a set all season. And that streak is in big trouble. Megan Hodge gets the kill.
Much of that trouble for Penn State was with Hodge in the backcourt. They're happy to have her back in the front court where she can go right over good blockers like Sydney Anderson.
Anderson. Wilberger. Set point Nebraska. try and fight off 11 more here, as the Husker fans will stay on their feet.
I think it's important for Penn State to get that rhythm back, knowing that they just carry that right on into the fourth set.
They're not unbeaten at number one for nothing.
I've seen a 24-17 comeback, but not a 24-11 or 12.
Set for the first time all season, and the Huskers stay alive. Stick around, set 4 coming up on the other side.
Really nice to get the monkey off their back, but they need to get back to controlling the ball well on their serve.
And a service error for the Huskers. Their serve kept them in it and enabled them to win set number 3.
Interesting. Nebraska switched back to Anderson being the first server, and Penn State starting in yet a different lineup. You can start in any one of 6 lineups depending on which player you want as your first server.
Lindsey Light at 6'5" has been going over, through, around the Penn State block all night. Tara Mueller serving. Glass, Hodge, and look at the difference when she gets a good pass, how effective they are.
With a good pass, the Nebraska block has to honor Krista Hormato. She came around and tied 2 blockers to her. That left a one-on-one for Hodge. Easy put away.
And there's the stuff. Hormato alongside Glass. Krista, who's been quiet, is really the center of this team and their emotional leader. And when she showed fire when they were in trouble against Cal, that's when they turned things around. Wilberger gets the kill. Point Nebraska. Hormato, the 6'2" senior from Aliquippa, PA, the top hitter in the nation. The ESPN, the magazine, academic All-American of the Year this season.
Coach Cook says every so often you get a throwback player, and she's one of those few that he'd love to sign to coach forever. Just great stock from Western Pennsylvania, and he had a player like that in his assistant coach now, Salima Rockwell, another one of those few that he'd love to coach.
Larson. Light. Penn State not talking about who's going to get to that loose ball.
Well, now it gets interesting because Penn State's never been challenged like this, pushed this hard, or as some coaches would say, punched in the face. Now, how do they respond? A little hesitation there. That's not a great sign right off the bat.
Glass tried to go over on 2. Larson. Tip doesn't get down. Hodge coming out of the back. A lot of traffic right there for Penn State. Light with the blast. Fawcett. Hodge stuffed by Glass and Hormato.
That's a tough one. I don't know if I would run Jordan Larson right into traffic like that. It's, I think, better to keep things spread out so that Wilson has no chance to get there, maybe a one-on-one. When she runs right in the middle, she's running into the meat, the heart of that Penn State defense.
Larson tried to go deep, didn't get it. Point Penn State.
And there again is an example of what a block will do. Often earn you 2 or 3 points. The block, then you get in the hitter's head, and she's trying to avoid the block. The next time goes right out of bounds. Another point, a free one.
Anderson, quick hitter to Gates. Amanda Gates with the kill.
Coach Cook gives Anderson so much credit. She's one of those, got the rare thing that the great ones do of helping her teammates to believe in themselves, and she makes everyone around her better.
Rachel Schwartz. Glass, looking to Fawcett. Oh my goodness.
But Schwartz hanging in there. She's one of those 3 seniors that Coach Cook gives so much credit for, turning it around, bringing the fun back. That's her job. Bring the love and the fun. Although that wasn't a lot of love coming from the other side of the net there.
Larson tried to return the favor. That's blocked. Oh, Ariel Wilson with the pound.
Well, watch out. Nebraska might have gotten Penn State just a little irritated.
Timeout with Penn State leading Nebraska 7-4 here. Home Depot coaching clinic. Both of them, by the way, leading their team in digs right now.
And in fact, Caleb Vanworth was pivotal in that comeback that Nebraska had, scoring 9 straight points last week. She served 8 of those at Washington to get them from down 9-3 to up 12-9.
Larson back to serve. Another strong serve from Jordan. Free ball. Mueller up against one blocker for the kill.
And that's where the ball control of Nebraska pays off. Tough serve, scramble for Penn State. They get a perfect pass, and they get that one blocker that they need for Mueller to get a good chance to score.
She is doing some damage on her serve.
And there again, a poor pass.
Fawcett able to clean it up with the kill.
But once that pass pulls Glass off the net, Fawcett really becomes the only option. At that point, Nebraska has its best hope. Fawcett goes right over, crushes the ball in the corner. Nebraska did everything right to score.
And then the ace from Fawcett.
Yeah, when you have Rachel Schwartz right behind you, you probably want to just let that ball go. Let these great passers of Nebraska take even the short plays like that one.
Gates. Blair Brown looking for Megan Hodge. Kept up by Nebraska. They're going to go to Larson out of the back, right down the middle. Good D. Anderson. Mueller outside, off the fingertips. Point Nebraska.
The exact shot we saw them practicing on this floor yesterday. Hit the high line hands, bounce it up, off and out of play.
10 kills now for Mueller, coming off that 24-kill performance in the region final against Washington. Glass outside to Hodge. One blocker won't be enough.
And you can see how much more effective Hodge is with a set that barely ever gets more than 3 feet above the net. Way fast to the outside, stressing the Nebraska blockers. A higher set, like the previous rally coming from Brown, she didn't get a good approach at all.
Whole house error. Nebraska within 2.
Armato still needing to get back in this game, or this set. Only had one opportunity to attempt at hitting last set, and one so far this set.
Looking for Blair Brown down the middle. Armato was the decoy on that one.
As she has been pretty much for 2 straight sets. Even though she's leading the country in hitting efficiency, Penn State has to control that serve better so they can give her the ball. She's often the first option.
DeRico. Anderson looking for light. Glass got it up. Fawcett tried a tough shot out of the back. Nebraska with the point. The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships will be Saturday night at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. For more info on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Glass again, a long way to go for that one. Point Huskers. Nope, they got the tip. Point Penn State.
That's a good call. That did touch the fingertips of Wilberger there. Again, Fawcett saving the day, completely out of system on offense.
Larson missed it long. Point Penn State. The Nittany Lions, 6 All-Americans in their starting lineup against this Nebraska team that lost 4 All-Americans from a year ago. They have reloaded and are challenging the top team in the country here in the semis.
Well, this last play, actually, there would have been an opportunity to get it to Harmado, but they run it down the middle, Hodge, on one of the rare times that Nebraska's been able to stop it with the block.
Another tough serve will give Nebraska an opportunity. Anderson, the back set to Light, and she misfires.
That one hurts. Coach Cook a little down about that. Golden opportunity. Whenever you can chip away at Nebraska, you've got to get it when you do everything right on the serve, but then don't do it on offense.
2-point swing on an error like that. Gates trying to make up for it. Got that one by Ariel Wilson.
With authority.
These 3 seniors, all from the state of Nebraska. Gates, Larson, Schwartz, fighting so desperately last weekend to get home to play out their careers. And here they are in Omaha trying to stay alive and get back to the championship match.
There's Larson showing her blocking prowess. She wasn't sure how far toward the sideline Wilson was going to go. Read it perfectly. 2 hands way across the net.
Glass, Wilson, Larson got a piece of it. They'll go back outside to Jordan. Gets it in. Point Huskers.
Penn State keeps running it right at the best blocker for Nebraska right now. Jordan Larson, a stuff and a perfect control block.
Fawcett stuffed. Tie ball game.
Again, Penn State stuck in a rotation without Harmado. Harmado out of the game now. Her position's in the back row.
Penn State scrambling. Anderson. Gates. Got it. Schwartz serves. Another overpass. Nebraska is taking Penn State right out of its rhythm. Nebraska tries to erase a 2-0 deficit. They've gotten 1 set back and they're up here in the 4th. They are out blocking the top blocking team in the country. And they are holding the top hitting team in the nation under 200 here in the last 2 sets.
Held them down to 103 in the 3rd, 150 right now in the 4th. Who would have thunk it?
Anderson dumps on 2.
She's really picking her spots well tonight. Normally she'll do that a lot more often, but she knows that it's wisest to be a little more sparing with that one with the great Penn State blockers in front of her.
And now their best server, Larson. Glass to Brown. Slams it. Penn State within 1. Larson, the tip out of the back.
And Holhouse wiping her shoes. She actually slipped. She had a good beat on that ball, but took one slip, one step where the foot just didn't catch the floor, and the ball falls for the point.
Back set to Brown. She's been their best weapon here in the fourth.
And hitting for the highest numbers all told this match. Probably about 500 now. At the break it was 455.
Mueller. Back to Mueller. Blocked. Third time. It's a charm.
Tell you, if you're Penn State, you don't want to go to a fifth.
Nope.
Anything can happen. Now's the time to turn it.
Haven't dropped a set all season, and now they're looking at losing 2 in a row. Hodge with the kill.
And still unable to get the ball to the best hitter in the country, most efficient one, Krista Hermato. Just gone absolutely quiet offensively the last 2 sets.
Back set, Mueller, stuffed. Mueller again. Dug up. Glass, there's Hermato, and there's a kill.
And she needs her attempts because she's the heart of that team. She gets them going emotionally so much. You just see how fired she was there, how fired up. She needs those opportunities to do that for her team.
Anderson to light. Good. The big girl goes over the top. Mueller ace. 4 points from forcing a 5th game. It hasn't happened in 27 years. Can it happen twice in one night? In the semifinals, down 2-0, Stanford rallying to beat Texas earlier tonight. And now Nebraska trying to match it. The Cardinal are into the final. They'll take on the winner of this matchup Saturday at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. It's the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Remarkable turnaround by the Huskers.
Well, after last Saturday when they came back from 2-0 down at Washington on Washington's home floor, pretty much everybody in Nebraska thought that's as good as it can get. If they do this tonight against an undefeated Penn State that had not lost a single set, this will absolutely, they already sealed the legend, but now they're going to have to erect statues all over the state.
They'll have to retire everybody's jersey on the team if they can do that.
This team is not supposed to be able to do this. The talent was really here last year when everybody returned from the NCAA championship team. But this is one of the reasons Coach Cook says Jordan Larson is the best player in the program history, because she didn't have on paper a tremendous supporting cast. And look what this group is doing. Making everybody around her better is Jordan Larson. Hermato stuffed. Free ball. Larson. Ooh. Too close to let that one go. Force it out of the back. Oh. Kept alive. Larson. And Hodge ends it. will file that one away. Nebraska, even though they don't win it, that's the kind of effort they've been doing. The whole crowd applauding Nebraska. Well deserved. They need a breather after that one, and that's exactly what Coach Cook's giving them.
Timeout. Oh, that was spectacular. On both sides of the net, turning it up. Nebraska by 1 here in the 4th. If they win it, we go to a 5th set to decide who gets to play Stanford. They're cheering the loudest, by the way, because whoever wins this is going to need their rest tomorrow. Facing elimination last Saturday night against Washington, came back from down 0-2. They watched earlier tonight as Stanford faced an 0-2 deficit to Texas and came back and won it. They're now trying to do the unthinkable and knock off undefeated Penn State. They've won 62 matches in a row, an NCAA record. They've already ended the NCAA record consecutive sets won that Penn State had 111 in a row tonight. They are just so tough to beat inside the borders of the state of Nebraska. Hodge serves. Glass, Fawcett, she's blocked. Glass could not connect with Harmato, who goes down hard. Point Nebraska.
Her second opportunity. Glass trying to fake like she was going to attack to open it up even more for Harmato, but faked out her own hitter a little bit.
Fawcett. Did it get down? No, just wide. Point Nittany Lions. 20 kills now for Fawcett, 20 for Hodge for Penn State. And this is the rotation now for the Nittany Lions, where Harmato leaves the game. And Ream comes in to serve. The tip effective.
Nice recognition by Gates there. Block all over her, so she tips it behind. Glass actually reading it well, but not controlling it.
Two points away from forcing a 5th set. Larson.
And, oh, it looked like Larson, she wanted to go back to serve, try to get that ace to make it go a 5th.
Fawcett keeps Penn State alive. Another set point for Nebraska.
So Nebraska in a 2-hitter rotation. It's Gates and Larson. Got to expect Larson to get the ball.
She does. And she terminates. The 5th set for a spot in the championship when we come back. They've got to match that tonight just to move into the final, and another matchup with the Cardinal, who will await the winner of this one on Saturday night. Penn State and in white, Nebraska in red. In what would be a stunning upset if the Huskers can pull it off. And if the Nittany Lions want the label as one of the best ever, they'll have to prove it here. 1-0 Huskers.
Would not be unlike the New England Patriots. Getting all the way to the Super Bowl. Undefeated all the way through.
That makes Nebraska the New York Giants. They are getting a piece of everything. Glass looking to Hodge off speed. That won't go down. Fawcett out of the back. Got it. 1-1.
And both coaches again changed who their first server would be, so we have yet another different matchup.
Larson somehow muscled that one through. 2-1 Huskers.
Well, she's not supposed to win that one after a bad pass and a bad set. But the Penn State blockers jumped too early and were coming down, left a hole between Brown and Wilson. Or Brown and Harmato, I should say.
Harmato gets the kill.
And I think it would be wise of Penn State to get her going, get her some attempts so that she can provide the emotion that this Penn State team needs to fight this crowd of 17,000 plus.
Service error gives the Huskers the point.
Looking for the Huskers, Jordan Larson.
And here comes Jordan Larson. She has been lethal back there. Glass wins that one at the net.
Well, one thing you always have to remember, Beth, is Glass in the front row or the back row? If she's in the front row, she can block me. And that time, Glass saving a sure point for Nebraska.
Big for them to get the serve away from Larson as well as Fawcett drills it.
I think that play was huge by Glass. Now they win the next one, get some momentum, stealing a point away from Nebraska.
Mueller kept up by Harmato. Fawcett denied.
Get it to Harmato.
Uncontested. 3 in a row for Penn State.
That's what one play, stealing it from the team, will do. Mueller tried to hit it. Glass roofs it. Now Penn State gets on a roll.
Glass with the turning point play, and then her teammates finish it off. That's 3 unanswered, and the Nittany Lions are up by a couple. And that's the bonus you get from a 6-foot setter that can block. She's averaging a block a set, so 3 a match in the NCAA tournament. Not many other setters in the country can do that.
Here it comes. Mueller tries to win that battle. She has to remember that Glass is in the front row. She would be wiser to pass the ball and let Nebraska run its offense.
Extraordinary. They were down 2 sets, and then they were down 9-3 in the 5th. After coming all the way back, they rallied again. What, 9 points in a row?
Absolutely. So all they need to do is give up 4 more and then start their comeback. And they got Penn State right where they want them.
The 62-match win streak on the line. Their quest for a back-to-back championship's on the line. Larson out of the back. Good D by Holthouse. I just tipped. That's not going to work. Mueller. Glass looking for Fawcett. Larson is there. Mueller, no. 4 straight for the Nittany Lions.
And Harmato gets to get involved. She got the kill 2 plays ago. Now the block.
Anderson looking to Mueller. Got the touch. Point Nebraska.
Looked like she was aiming for the exit on that one. She had to aim very high to get it off the fingertips of Krista Harmato.
First to 15. Got to win by 2. Fawcett, no. Anderson bumps it over to Mueller. Fawcett got a piece of it, but couldn't keep it in play. Or Harmato, excuse me. Nebraska within 1.
And we see that so often from both Mueller and Larson. They love to turn it back down off the high hands of the blocker. Penn State needs to be leaning that direction. Wow.
Good short serve. Again, Glass able to push it over. Now Mueller's going to get a swing. Right at Holhouse. Hodge out of the back. Mueller again. Got it!
You can't serve it any shorter than Gates just did. She's utterly taking Harmato out of the offense by serving it so short.
Harmato got it.
That serve went deeper, and Harmato could do her thing. But they would prefer, Penn State would, not to have Harmato touching that first contact.
And now their emotional leader will have to depart as she rotates out with Penn State up 1. Anderson looking to Larson out of the back. Yep. Glass looking to Ariel Wilson. Larson got it up. White with the tip, covered. Fawcett was set for Wilson, pushed back by Wilberger. Hodge going to set it outside. Larson again. Mueller, yes! Teams will switch sides. Huskers up 1.
Cook said Larson can beat you with any skill. She's in the backcourt. She just killed for the previous point. Now she comes up with a huge dig on a rocket, giving her team a chance to score.
Corey Cooper reacts in the camouflage jacket. Larson, 16 kills, 17 digs. 5-1 run. Glass over onto Larson again with the dig. Hodge from the back, good.
And she looks hungry for the ball, talking to her teammates.
Anderson, the back set, Mueller. White drills it. Penn State, Nebraska by 2. Timeout. State in disbelief. The Huskers trying to keep it going for 5 more points. in what would be one of the most stunning upsets in tournament history. In front of a record-setting crowd here at the Quest Center in Omaha. A sea of red helping the Huskers come back from the 0-2 deficit. And on the verge of just unbelievable. Come from behind win in the region final, down 2-0, and trying to match it again in the national semis.
Well, Nebraska has done what it needed to do to get this lead. Serve tougher than Penn State, control Penn State's serve better than vice versa. Penn State's offense has broken down, and on the very last play, we saw Glass with a rare error, a low set to Blair Brown in the middle.
Glass looking to Fawcett. Point Penn State.
Armato still waiting to get back in.
Fawcett will not use the jump serve, just keep it in play. Larson with the rocket. Light. Kept alive. Anderson back to Light, and it's stuffed. Wow, she chose to go to Light instead of Larson on that one, and it's rejected.
Larson had it inches away from a put-away, though, down the line. Larson gave it everything she had on that swing. And Fawcett with a great dig to start the rally.
Larson, long. Penn State back on top. Point Penn State.
Maybe Fawcett should have been serving like this more during. She puts the jump serve in her back pocket and scores 3 in a row off a tough floater.
Wow, timeout Nebraska as Penn State has jumped on top by 2. They have not lost since last September. 62 straight. They hadn't dropped a set all year until set number 3 here tonight. They've lost 2 in a row. And back and forth we go here in set number 5. The first one to 15, winning by 2, will play Stanford on Saturday night.
Well, if Penn State goes on to win the championship, they'll have been pushed to the absolute limit. We have not been able to see. Everybody's been waiting to see how Penn State would respond. Great response, down 10-8 and scoring the next 4, putting themselves in a better position. But poor Krista Armato still waiting to get back in the game. She would love to get a hit or a block or something. She's just having to listen to Coach here.
Regardless, Coach, what a night for college volleyball. 27 years of this tournament, there had never been a semifinal where a team rallied from down 2-0. This year, we might see it twice in one night.
And either way, down 2-0, forcing a 5th. That's now happened 3 straight matches, starting with last Saturday night's final, regional final.
Stanford did it against Texas earlier. Nebraska trying to do it to Penn State tonight.
Expect the ball to go away from Hodge. Probably want to go back to Larson, the absolute heart of this team, and another bad pass from Nebraska. Free ball.
Glass. Hodge. Yes! Out of nowhere, seemingly, Karch. The passing miscues. Lethal right here to Nebraska in a 5-0 run.
Nobody's ever seen the float serve from Fawcett before. She broke it out at the right time. Another bad pass.
Glass. Hodge. Had to push it up with the left. Tips it deep. Mueller kept it alive. Outside to Larson. Too far outside. Beyond the antenna. Point Penn State. And it is match point for the defending champions.
I still wouldn't count Nebraska out after all they've done.
Whole house keeps it up. Hodge for the win. Larson keeps the Huskers alive. That ends a 6-0 run.
Well, looks like Harmano's never going to get back in the game. But Penn State has 3 hitters to choose from, and I think they probably go to Hodge if they get a good set. She loves that fast set that comes barreling out there. She jumps and goes over the block.
And 3 more set points as well, or match points as well. Glass, Hodge,